what's up and welcome. I'm the one and only West Coast King, and welcome back to Major League 90, where we are talking Major League Soccer, and we are right in the thick of the playoffs now. The first leg of the conference semifinals has been completed, and it was an interesting one. Now, typically, the away team in this first leg, which is usually the better team or the higher seeded team, will approach this first leg in one of two ways. Either they'll come out and go, you know what? We're the better team here. It doesn't matter if we're on the road. We're going to go out and play our style, play our game, and we're going to be okay. Let's get off on the right foot here, put ourselves in a good spot headed back home, and let's just put this thing away right here, right now. Or they'll come out and go, you know what? I don't know if we're going to be able to get it done on the road. Let's just play defensive, not get killed, take this thing back home, either, very, very close, the score's still very tight, or 0-0. Best case scenario, we go back home and we handle business there. We saw these teams approach it both ways this past weekend, and in some instances, it worked out okay, in some instances, it really did not. So, let's take a look at the 4 games from this past weekend. So, starting off with the first game, we had Montreal at home to take on first place in the Eastern Conference, New York Red Bulls, and the Red Bulls came out and said, we're going to play our game. They came at Montreal. It was a back and forth game. There wasn't the most attempts in the world, but I thought New York still was very, very good. Probably the better team. Created the better chances. And yet, Montreal somehow stole that one. I would say New York was the better team. Montreal stole a goal. Mancosu with a world-class finish for that game to end 1-0 Montreal. I mean, the finish he had, just a ball over the top. He let it come down, took a bounce, and hit it on the volley over the goalkeeper and into the net. It was an absolutely amazing finish. And Montreal, with that goal, give themselves a chance. They win it 1-0, going back to New York. They have the aggregate lead, but New York is still New York. At the Red Bulls Arena, they're one of the best teams in the league at home. And I still think New York is in a good spot. The way they played against Montreal, they come out and do that again at home. I think that they win this game, and they win it handily. I probably say this one ends either 3-0 or 3-1 New York, and New York still gets through this thing. Now, Montreal does have a chance. Like I said, that goal gave them hope here. They could come out and do it. They could come out and take this thing, but I just think New York's too strong of a team at home, and I still think New York gets through here. In the second game of the weekend, we saw New York City FC on the road against Toronto, and this was the one where I thought, coming into this thing, I believed in Toronto. I think this is their year. I think that they're going to make it at least to the MLS Cup Finals. Now, whether they win or not, I don't know. I think that if I had to pick one favorite out of the entire league right now, I'm picking Toronto. So that kind of put NYCFC in a bit of a situation going on the road here. And they kind of played a mix of defensive, and then they tried to play their style. And for the most part, for the first 80 minutes, NYCFC held possession. They had more possession. They did everything they needed to do. Now, Toronto attacked, and attacked relentlessly, as Toronto does, created a lot of chances. NYCFC was very fortunate not to be down early and often in that game, but still, they got to the 80-minute mark. Still 0-0. NYCFC had done their job. Playing defense is not their forte, but they did it very well on the road. And then they decided, let's try to play our game here. Let's try to go for it now. We're feeling good. We're feeling confident. Let's go for a goal. They created a couple of opportunities, and just when it looked like the game was turning in favor of NYCFC, Toronto was still Toronto, and they proved it, and they won the game 2-0. 2 goals late in that one. Jozy Altidore, I know Giovinco is an MVP favorite, and I would say the best player on the team, probably the best player in the league. But right now, Jozy Altidore is their best player. He just creates so many problems for opposing defenses, and he scored another goal in this one. He's also setting up goals. He's doing everything. Playing alongside Giovinco, I think, has made Jozy Altidore a more complete forward, and he's a better player for it. I absolutely love the way he's playing, and if Altidore and Giovinco are healthy, I just don't think there's a team in this league that's going to stop them, including New York Red Bulls, if they end up meeting in the conference finals. But headed back to NYCFC now, it's 2-0 Toronto. If Toronto come out and score an away goal, that means NYCFC have to put 4 on the board to win this thing. I don't think that they get it done. I think that game probably ends 2-2 in New York, and Toronto moves through to the conference finals. In the Western Conference, it was a bit of a different situation. We had the first game in the Western Conference, Colorado, on the road in LA. To set this one up, let me just tell you this. 3 games between those two teams heading into this one. 3 goals scored. Colorado 1-1, 1-0 in Colorado, and then there was a 0-0 draw, I think, also in Colorado, and then a 1-1 draw in LA. That was in the regular season. Fully expected this thing to either end 1-0 or 0-0, and it did. And Colorado came out, and remember how I said some teams go, you know what, let's just play defense here and go back home, try to keep this thing close. That's what Colorado did. They had no desire to attack at all. At all. None. Zero. They did not have any interest in going towards the LA goal at all. It was very, very, I thought, very disappointing. It made the game quite boring. Jermaine Jones came on for Colorado in the second half, at the start of the second half, and he was their best offensive player. And I don't know if that says more about what Jermaine Jones has become since entering the MLS, where he's more of a box-to-box midfielder rather than a classic holding mid as he was in Germany. But he's a very, very good box-to-box mid now. Or if it says more about Colorado, where a holding midfielder is their best offensive player. I'm not sure. It probably says a little bit about both. But headed back to Colorado now, 1-0 in favor of LA. I say that game ends 0-0. I don't think Colorado's going to score goals. That was my reason for saying that they were going to finish 7th or 8th this season. They can't score goals, and they've proven it time and time again that they just don't. It's hard to pick against a team that finished second in the league in points, but right now they're in a massive goal drought. And when that happens to a team that already struggles to score, they're anemic. They can't do anything offensively. And I think either that game ends 0-0 and LA gets through, or LA maybe wins it 1-0 and they get through. Colorado could come back and spring to life. Reports are Jermaine Jones is going to start that game. It's been a very long time since he started a match for Colorado. Maybe he jumpstarts that team, but I just don't see it. I don't see enough out of Colorado offensively to make me believe that they're going to come from behind and take that series over LA. And in the final game of the weekend, I was front and center for this one at CenturyLink Field in Seattle. I also vlogged that game in case you missed it. Here's a little sneak peek. Nico! It's Nico! Nico had my babies! 3-0! So definitely go check that vlog out if you did miss it, but I was there for that one. What a game. What a game. And it was a very interesting one. For about 83 out of the 90 minutes, it was pretty even. Seattle, slightly the better team, created a few more opportunities, but Dallas, for the most part, was in it. But for a 7-minute stretch in the second half, Dallas fell asleep. And Seattle absolutely knocked them the hell out in that 7 minutes. Dallas didn't know what hit them. It was one of the strangest things I've seen from a Supporter Shield winner in a playoff match. Dallas completely had no idea what was happening in that 7 minutes. And Seattle came out and scored 3 goals in that time span. And Dallas, I don't think that they're coming back from it. I really don't think that they're coming back. Seattle goes and wins that match 3-0. I don't think. The reason I say that is Seattle, even at their worst, this season, or lately in this season, finds a way to score at least 1 goal. If Seattle can come out in Dallas in the second leg and score 1 goal, that means that Dallas will have to put 5 on the board to beat Seattle. And the way Stephen Fry and that defense is playing, it's not going to happen. It just will not happen. They're just not giving up goals right now. Stephen Fry's in the best form probably of his career. He is absolutely standing on his head, making saves. He looks unbeatable. I don't think any team's going to come out and score 5 on Seattle, no matter if they're at home or on the road. It just won't happen. It could. It's the MLS. Anything could happen, but I just don't see that happening. So even if Seattle doesn't score, I don't think Dallas recovers from this. They look defeated. They really look defeated. And I don't see him coming back. I think Seattle comes through. That game probably ends 2-1 Dallas, but again, it's not going to be enough. I think Seattle makes it through to the conference finals. So if my predictions are correct, that would mean we have Toronto and New York Red Bulls in the Eastern Conference Finals, and Seattle and LA in the West. What a dream matchup for both the East and the Western Conference Finals. I don't think anybody would be complaining about that if that was who they came down to, except for maybe, the fans of the teams that get knocked out. But what are you going to do? You can't please everybody. But I think that would make for a fantastic Western Conference Finals. And if that happens, I 100% am going to be at CenturyLink Field for Seattle and LA. That's just a classic MLS playoff matchup now, isn't it? I mean, Seattle seems to play Dallas and LA every year in the playoffs. Well, we'll have to see if that holds true for this one. But that is going to be it for this one. Let me know what your thoughts are and your predictions down below for this upcoming weekend. Who you think gets through, who you think maybe falls a little bit short. and who you think is going to be the team that looks the best right now and is going to make it all the way in this MLS Cup playoff system. But that's going to be it for this episode. If you did enjoy it, make sure to let me know by leaving a like below. Subscribe if you're new, and I will see you when we come back for some more Major League 90. See ya.